Welcome to Rauta, welcome to new Primordial album review. This time I have this nice looking package of the latest Primordial album, How It Ends. And this is double CD feature, double CD digipack, coming straight from Metal Blade Records, very fresh from the oven, around right after that is the actual release date. And since this is a double CD version, you can see both albums listed here. The disc 1 obviously is the main dish of the course, that is over 60 minutes of Primordial music, the way that only Primordial from Ireland can do, and the second one is rather interesting to take. Now I'll zoom in a little bit so you will see. First there is a As Rome Burns orchestral version, which is really nice one. Then there's a Mouth of Judas live track, and then some really old ones. As you can see, these are from the 90s, unreleased demo tracks and live tracks. So pretty interesting bonus content for those who are really fans of the band and who don't just stick with the digital release. As this is as much unboxing as this is a review video, I will show it you thoroughly. Now for more information, background and whatnot, I think I am kind of shamelessly promoting here my own interview I did with the vocalist Alan at the Beyond Gates Festival Norway in early August. There we will be discussing a lot of the contents of the band or band's latest album, and this is how it looks, by the way, without those CDs blocking the view. In that interview we will definitely touch certain topics of the band and also the band status in so many ways. But the big question is, can really Primordial be called a black metal band, as so many people tend to box it in, even still nowadays, or 30 years after the band has been founded? My quick answer to that question is nope. Calling Primordial a black metal band is pretty much calling bands like Solstafir or Bathory, etc. purely black metal ones, because while there is definitely kind of a lineage, kind of a heritage coming from the black metal background, nowadays Primordial is more about being epic heavy metal. Obviously there are folk elements, obviously there are black metal reminiscent parts, but mostly calling it just black metal band, black metal release can be really misleading for a lot of factors in the album and all that stuff. Now this is quickly summarized if you take a look at the similar artist tab on Metal Archives for Primordial. You will quickly find out that most of the bands are not exactly black metal bands, even though obviously a lot of them have these hints or parts of black metal, like Bathory obviously has its black metal past, Moonsaris folk pagan black metal ones, Solstafir also enslaved, all that stuff. But I guess in a way bands like Kroakhan can be closer to that one. Can't say I have ever heard Mael Mordha, so that being folk doom and listed as second might give you a little bit of indication what to expect. But overall it's just fair to say and honest that Primordial is a band of its own style. They definitely have carved their own thing along the years, and even though they kind of started flirting with the black metal and all early 90s, I mean this band has been here for more than 30 years now, it's just something that, I don't know, got removed over the years, or at least diluted, whatever you want to use it. But like I said, calling this album a black metal album can be really misleading. First of all, there are no typical black metal riffs. Secondly, none of the vocal parts really kind of like sound black metal. Surely Alan has this kind of a raspier end of vocals, but he also had a lot of those more like traditional heavy metal vocals, which alone, in my opinion, should put this beyond the scope of black metal. And overall, when it comes to the riffs and certain parts, I mean, yeah, you could call it with different set of vocals, kind of atmospheric black metal, relative similarity, whatever. But as we all know, vocals play a big part when we are defining genres. But be that as may, whatever the genre is to you, it goes to beyond the scope of this interview. Anyway, So since the 1990s, the early years when Primordial was founded, the band has obviously been putting out quite a few albums. I mean, if you take a look at this Metal Archives listing here, you will see that the band has never been on hiatus. Every few years, a new Primordial album pops up, and that should be making waves, at least among the fans. However, this part here from 2023, this year, how it ends, and 2018, Exile Among the Ruins is probably the biggest gap between the albums. I mean, there's like through 3 years every here and then, 4 years even, but this is 5 years. And of course, a lot of people are gonna talk about COVID years, and that is essentially true for so many bands. Sometimes it means just things are slowed down, delayed, whatever. Sometimes it meant that bands actually had to sit around a table instead of touring, and that is of course very different situation. I think everybody knows it if you're a songwriter to begin with, and this already probably changed the game a bit. But whatever it is, here it is with more than 65 minutes of music over 10 tracks. So all in all, of course, quite many of these tracks, pretty much all the tracks except for the fourth track, which is instrumental, are quite lengthy. I mean, they're not really the epic scope of going beyond 10 minutes and so, but I mean, you have almost 9 minutes tracks here, and many of them are over 7 minutes. And even when it's shorter, excluding these instrumental ones, I mean, you can clearly tell these are post 5 minutes, and that alone should tell you a lot about how Primordial is approaching their music. They're not short and sweet tales, but more about, I don't know, epic level stuff in so many ways. And I would like to use the word epic here purposefully, because the thing here is, it kind of describes what Primordial is musically doing. Certainly, it's falling into the box of heavy metal, or at least in the terms of umbrella terms. And that is, the songs are big, they sound like, majestic in so many ways, and they are kind of flirting with so-called epic doom. They are lengthy, but also they go to the heights that not of many bands, especially related to extreme metal genre, are doing. And I think that's fantastic. But that also means these songs are kind of harder to approach. I'm saying they're more about atmospheric parts or atmosphere in general, rather than, hit riffs and whatnot. And of course, the vocals are something. You either like the kind of a style what the vocalist is doing, or then you're like put off because, like, I don't know, I like growly, I like raspy, I like throaty, whatever kind of vocals you do, unless you're ready to, get challenged by combination of clean and somewhat raspy heavy metal vocals, this might not be your cup of tea. But those who are willing to give it a kind of a grower approach, I think they will be enjoying the album. I mean, it took me quite a while, but already, that comes with my personal experience and taste, what have you. Already I knew that from the very first spin, I'm gonna give this more listens. And that's not so much given when I get the digital promo. Sometimes I just delete it after 2 songs and move on. Why? Because I'm so busy and I get all the time a lot of CDs. But this kind of kept me, captivated. And maybe it's partially because I did the interview. Maybe I wanted to give this one more. Or maybe it's just that the quality of music is right there, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I want to get back to this. And after 2 spins, I was mailing the label, hey, would I like to have physical copy? I would really, dig deep into it and get the feeling of the package and all that stuff. Lyrics are one thing, and that goes beyond the scope of this interview. But of course, when I was listening to this stuff, you will hear interesting lines here and there to make your already mind figure out what's going on. And because we did this interview, I already have some background information, so it's all complementing these individual features of the album or the band. Now obviously there are these questions: is Primordial a folky one? Does it have folky metal parts, folk music in general without metal, traditional stuff? Yes, certain riffs are definitely flirting with the kind of a traditional, I guess, Irish music, and you will hear kind of a flavoring, but it's not as folky as when we're talking about bands that you will use mouth harp or violin or any kind of a traditional instruments. No, Primordial is mostly, I would say, actually clearly, totally about metal music. But you will hear certain parts where it's I can almost hear the Irishman dancing here wildly and sipping some booze. No, that's not very good Irish impression, probably too Scottish or whatever. I'm just saying it puts you in a different world, and in that sense it's very, very refreshing. Primordial sounds unique and it's not for everybody, but then again, which band is? I'm saying How It Ends is a good album, and some are even saying it's the best album by the band so far. I'm yet to decide on that, not that much familiar with the whole discography, so that will have to wait. But all I'm saying, this is a good album and you should be listening to it, and this has been out since late September 2023, so what are you waiting for? Give it a shot, give it a listen, and I hope you enjoy it. And if not, well, can't please everybody. This is Rauta, this is Primordial. Take a look. And oh, by the way, please do enjoy the interviews as well, linked into this video. Bye bye.